Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and welcome to another F1 2019 experiment, and we're back again with the 1 million R&D points, and we're once again trying to maximize a car, but this time we're not looking at the Williams car. You can see there clearly by Carl's get up and uniform there, we're with the Red Bull team, because we maximize the Williams car on F1 2019 career mode, i.e. all the upgrades on the aero, the chassis, the engine power, even the reliability. And we got a pretty damn quick car, and we saw how that was in a race, and we also tried to do Austria in under a minute. We failed at that. We got kind of close. I think we were like a second and a half out or something like that, or maybe a little bit more, which is quite large in F1 terms though. And in the comments below of that video, you guys said I should try and maximize the Red Bull car, because that is actually apparently the highest potential career mode car in the game. Like, the Red Bull car has the highest potential when you max out every single part. Don't know if that's actually true or not, but I'm going to take the word for it, because the comment got like over, I think, 300 likes or whatever was the top of the video comment section. So I'm going to take whoever person that was the word for it, and we're going to go ahead and maximize the Red Bull car. Obviously, maybe down the line we can try and eventually maximize most of the cars. If that's of interest, then let me know. It does take quite a lot of time, especially with the top cars. I can tell you, Red Bull, to maximize this Red Bull car, this was a pain in the arse. This was actually a lot longer than Williams, because a little bit more of a long drawn out one, I should say, a bit more far-fetched, because I have to physically actually do a lot of the races. Like with Williams, I had to actually do, like, basically I set the career mode to 5 laps, and I can actually do some of the 5-lap races with Williams in the first few races, and then from that point on, the car was so good that I could just simulate all the sessions, and it would be fine. I could get the contracts I needed to get, you know, the perks for the upgrade speed on the minor, major, and ultimate, and also the simultaneous developments. With Red Bull, obviously, because it's a top team, they expect a lot from you from the get-go, so I had to get good results straight away, which obviously I went in naively, not thinking. I simulated Azerbaijan. You can see we're P6 there. I did manually do the Australian Grand Prix. I think I got P1, I think it was, or I might have done Bahrain or China. One of those I did manually and actually won the race outright there in a 5-lap race. But I simulated Azerbaijan. At the end of it, we didn't get the contract perk of 600 points. Doesn't matter about the points, because we've already got 1 million R&D points, but not doing the contract perk brought our rep down. And so you're about to see on the contract renegotiation, the very first one we do after Azerbaijan, I actually basically failed the renegotiation. I was asking too much from Red Bull, because I had not effectively proved enough to them that I warranted a better contract. So that's a caveat of, if you're trying to max out a car in your career mode, or you're just going through career mode in general, just know, as it should be, the top teams ask a lot more from you, and it's a lot more difficult to get a better contract, basically. So we ran out of renegotiations. I had to revert to my original contract, which was level 1 on the upgrade speed, which wasn't too bad for minor upgrades, but majors took 4 weeks, which was a long time, 4 or 3 weeks, which is a long time to wait, really. That's 3 whole races in a season. You think about how quickly we're trying to upgrade this car to maximum, compared to the Williams car, where basically I already got a good enough contract after Azerbaijan to straight away get quite deep into the R&D. Obviously, we have a head start with Red Bull, because Red Bull start off a lot higher than Williams, but the potential is also higher with Red Bull, so you can see what I mean. So it was a bit of a faff, so definitely, guys, definitely, guys, be supportive of the video. Be sure to hit that like button, because, yeah, this was a big headache of a video to actually record. It took me over 2 days to record the video in little kind of segments, because I actually got so kind of frustrated with how slow the process was with getting through all these upgrades and having to manually do the races in the background, which obviously you guys are never going to see. I'm never going to bore you with the details of just going through and winning races for the sake of winning them for the contract objectives. But we get through there. We're slowly making progress up to kind of like level 3, I guess you could say, or tier 3 of the engine side of things, or layer 3, I guess you could say, of the actual tree itself. Same thing with the aero. We're level 2 on the kind of layer of the tree there for the aero. And chassis wise, I actually wasn't even past the kind of first proper layer of the chassis, so that was actually quite difficult, because the chassis, well, all 3 kind of components were a little bit different to Williams. Williams, I felt like they teed you up to upgrade quite quickly, whereas Red Bull had quite a few major upgrades early on in the tree, so it meant that with my current contract, things were very slow. Like, it would always take, you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to do these upgrades. Eventually we go through, we actually get an R&D reset reset of the chassis, so that's why the icons are in grey, if you're wondering, but we're just going to obviously have unlimited R&D points, so we just go ahead and repurchase them and readapt them. We're now through to some ultimate upgrades, and we're actually through maybe 2/3 of the way, or maybe about, I would say, actually 8 to 9/10 of the way through the chassis side of the tree. We're maybe about 7/10 of the way through the engine side of things now. We're making progress. We're about, for context, I think we're just about at the, I would say, I don't know, Russian Grand Prix? I think if I look through on the R&D chart, hopefully, but you can see there's a lot of upgrades pending now. And, oh, okay, yeah, I was nearly correct. Yeah, we just did the Russian Grand Prix, and we're at the Japanese Grand Prix. We're well on our way through. We're now, the gap from Red Bull to the next car is the entire gap of the entire rest of the field. So we're looking pretty damn good now, and we're now pretty much 5 upgrades away on each department from max car. But because a few of those are ultimate upgrades, and I've still not got a contract that allows me to get 1 week off the ultimate upgrades, those are going to take a while. Still, the majors take a while. So literally, I was purchasing these ultimate upgrades. I was purchasing them at Russia, and it was saying it's going to come in at Brazil, Abu Dhabi. So that was a bit of a faff, a bit of a wait, but we're getting there eventually. And the engine side of things is really playing on. I would say that, I'm going to guess now, that is probably the biggest leap the Red Bull car would take, I think. I think the thing that will push it over to being the highest potential car is probably the engine side of things, because I reckon Cody's have gone, okay, Honda engine, got a lot to upgrade. You know, it was quite a hefty tree compared to the aero side of things, as you would imagine with Red Bull. So I feel like the engine side of things, definitely there's a lot to work with, whereas the chassis and aero, maybe less so compared to other teams in terms of number of upgrades you do. But, you know, we're now getting ridiculously high, and we actually purchased the final upgrades of the aero side of things and the chassis side. But, like I said, because of the wait time, now those upgrades are going to come in at Australia. Basically, it told me that it's going to come in Australia, even though Australia's only 3 rounds away. Obviously, you have that winter break between Abu Dhabi and Australia. So a lot of those are going to get done straight away, which is good. So we get to the end of the season. We've not been fired, thankfully, like we did with the very first attempt with Williams, because I actually understood now that we have to actually do a few of these races to make sure everything was happy. By this point, the Red Bull car was fast enough where I could simulate the session and I could come in P2 every single time. So I just went ahead and got a contract that was aiming for P2 in qualifying and aiming for P2 in the race, and that was all Gucci. So we go through to Season 2 now officially. You can see those last few upgrades in the aero are done. So we now got a maxed out aero. We've also got maxed out, I think nearly maxed out chassis. I think we've got 2, yeah, we've got 2 ultimate upgrades to do on the chassis side of things, and we still have to actually drill into the power, because you can see here on the engine side, I have to go single file, minor, major, ultimate for that left-hand side there. So the engine side of things was a real faff right at the end here to actually get through to the max upgrades, because there was no other way I could shortcut to that ultimate upgrade. I had to go through the minor, then the major, then the ultimate. Eventually we do that. We've got a max chassis, max aero, and we purchased the final upgrade here, the final ultimate engine power upgrade. And so eventually we will get through, we will get through to a maxed Red Bull car at the Canadian GP. And so that is the full Red Bull tree done. Obviously a unique tree compared to the Williams car. Every single team has a unique tree, so if you're ever wondering about what a Red Bull tree looks like, it looks like that. I think, like I said, the engine side looks a bit more heavier than the aero and chassis, as you would kind of expect. And there we go. That is the Red Bull car on the R&D chart. And if we look ahead and compare it to the Williams one, you will see it is actually a lot better than the Williams. Like the Williams one tops out about 900 something, and the Red Bull one we're getting through to like over 1,000 there basically. So whoever commented below saying the Red Bull car has the max ability, I think you're probably right here. I think the Red Bull car does have the max ability. At least it's higher than the Williams car. So this gives us a better chance maybe to go faster at circuit space. And we're going to do a test race here at the Canadian GP. But just for context there, we go through and we just blend in the Williams chart I had with that Williams video, and we blend it back through to the Red Bull tree. You can see even the scaling of the tree is different, because obviously we're going up to 1,000 points with Red Bull, whereas we only met 2 900s in Williams there. So the Red Bull car, I would say, probably is the max, highest, best car you can get in the game when you're maxed out here, which is quite exciting. We can actually say we're going to be driving the categorical best car in the F1 2019 game in career mode. So we're going to go ahead, like I said, and test this car at the Canadian GP, start last place in a 5-lap race, and see how quickly we can get up the order. So here we go then to 5 red lights to this Canadian GP, 5 laps, and let's see how ridiculous this car is into turn 1 and overall in these 5 laps. I'm expecting an even faster feeling car, of course, because this is technically higher now than the Williams car we drove at Brazil, and I'm hoping for one because, well, I want a little bit of fun at Canada basically. So diving to turn 1, bit of a close action there with Albon's rear end. We'll go around the outside and get 4 cars into turn 1 then with that dive bomb. So already feeling a little bit more punchy than the Williams car actually did in Brazil there. Down the inside of 2 cars then on the right and then left. P14, very nice on Raikkonen, then 1, 2 maybe on the Haas down the inside of Grosjean, getting very aggressive there and getting the elbows out, up into P12. So already making faster progress in the Red Bull maxed out car than we did with the Williams. Down the inside now, oh, that's Carlos Sainz in the Mercedes now in the driver transfers in Season 2 of this career mode save. Hamilton's in Renault now in this little save universe of ours, and we've overtaken him now. So definitely, you know, you can see obviously well the positions, but I can tell you the feeling wise, like through that quick chicane, that first chicane on that opening lap when I overtook Raikkonen on the inside then, after he'd already taken the Toro Rosso on the inside for the entry of that chicane, the car was like on rails basically, and it felt so lightweight as well compared to the Williams. The Williams still felt a little bit heavy, even though it had the downforce, whereas this Red Bull felt so lightweight, so nimble, as it kind of would do maybe, because it's already started off quite nimble, and we've just made it even more so, and now it's got the engine power. So we're up into P9 now by lap number 2, make a horrendous dive bomb down the inside of Vettel, and somehow slow the car down with a lock-up there on the front right. So it is an absolute joke of a car right now compared to obviously everyone else. It's not a base car, but everyone else has got like a Season 2 kind of, you know, 1/3 of the way through the Season 2 car. So big difference obviously, and so it's just kind of comical how quick our car is. We catch up to now, this is Ricciardo in the Mercedes. So a lot of crazy transfers have also happened in this career mode save compared to my actual vanilla save with Alfa Romeo at the moment, currently in Season 2. We catch up now to Leclerc on lap number 3 now, so now progress is slowing down a little bit, and Leclerc was surprised on the braking how good he was here into the hairpin there. So that's something I noticed. The AI were still really good at starts, like they were able to out-traction me on starts, and I just feel like I'm still, I don't know if it's a me thing, I'm just still not great at outbraking the AI as much as I want to, even with a maxed out car compared to these guys. Like Leclerc was able to, you know, stick with me there. Obviously we got him in the end, and then we outbraked the McLaren car, but obviously that's a bigger difference from the Red Bulls to the McLaren of Gasly that was. And so now up into P5, lap number 4 now here. So now things have slowed down to the point where we're pretty much matching what we were doing at Brazil with the Williams car in terms of getting into P2 maybe by the time we get to the last lap of the Grand Prix, trying to catch up to Hulkenberg then very swiftly through that first chicane. We're able to maybe try to set up a move. I can feel it to the inside now. Here we go. Nicely does it. Just ease the car in, squeeze him out on the mid-apex there, and we're up into now what is going to be P4 on lap number 4. And so now we've got 2 more cars to go, 1 McLaren, 1 Racing Point, and they're up into second place. Obviously Verstappen is absolutely nowhere. He's bolted, but we're going to try and make a dive bomb to the inside now of this McLaren for P3. This will be if we can make it work. Late on the brakes, lock up there, but just about pushing wide, a little bit argy-bargy there. We get it done. Bit of contact made, but need to make that stick. And now we chase after the Racing Point car for 1 final overtake, and we'll be up into P2, and we might just be able to get this done just before the last lap of the Grand Prix, because we close rapid time on Perez there. Easy does into the chicane, avoid the Wall of Champions, DRS open, and we'll get that overtake done literally just before the last lap line there. And Verstappen, though, out in front by about 8 seconds there. But I think, compared to the Williams car, at least looked a little bit faster. I think in the end was pretty much about the same sort of performance, I would say, compared to the field with traffic there. But there you go, across the line, and that is P2, and that is how the maxed out Red Bull car drives. Definitely felt faster, but in reality, wasn't making much of a difference there. You know, you're always going to get traffic, like I said. Also, I always feel like the AI is still, you know, even no matter how good your car is, they always seem to out-traction you a little bit here and there, depending on the corner, and out-brake you depending on the corner. So there's a bit of a fine-tune there, maybe just with the AI itself, but the performance itself working very well. And yeah, I can safely say the Red Bull car felt like a monster. So if you have the privilege to drive the car ever in your career mode, then yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about. But guys, if you did enjoy the video and the concept, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and more importantly, let me know how badly you guys want to see me now take this Red Bull car to Austria and see if I or Verstappen, the AI car, can do a lap under a minute at the Red Bull Ring. Let me know in the comments below. If you're new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.